Hi everyone, Paul here, and today was one of those days that reminds you that if trading was easy, everyone would be doing it. No, that's certainly not the case. And if you're a long holder of Bitcoin, probably feeling a little bit beaten up, maybe like you've been mauled by a bear. I'm feeling a little bit mauled, but for other reasons, I can't let go of things, like some of my investments sometimes. So the best thing we can do is just take a little bit of time, step back from the screen, or use the screen, but do a little bit of reflection and think about what's really happening and not take any rash action. So let's jump in. If we start by looking at the daily chart, it's obvious that we broke through the trading range that we sat in for about a month. So it was obviously a pretty quiet, pretty boring time to be in the markets. But we had that low volatility reading, we had low volume, so we had the perfect environment for a big move. And we did have that move. It was the one that was probably least expected, or certainly a lower probability. And the initial push, as we didn't breach this previous spike low, we then had a bit of a consolidation, and since we've pushed down past that point. So significantly, we have made a lower low, so we've made that lower low here, breaching that low there. Volatility's kicked up a little bit, as you'd expect with this big movement, and we've breached that 42,000 mark. So none of those are great signs, but they're not terminal either. And it's actually a pretty good sign in terms of what's happening at the moment. We are starting to get a little bit of a bottoming action here, and you can see that on the 4-hour chart a little bit better there. So we're certainly not out of the woods yet, but the initial signs are that that bottom is starting to form, and that's pretty positive. That's probably the best that we can hope for at the moment, and only time will tell whether we form a bit of a bottom here, or we continue upwards, or we continue downwards. So we need a few more days to see how that shakes out. Now, going back to the daily chart again in terms of what we can expect. So if you think about what other traders are doing in the market, and we won't really know for another couple of days really what's going to happen, but you would expect that lots of traders in the market, some who are using leverage, some who aren't, would have been using this previous lower low as a stop point. So it won't be a surprise that if we do get some more selling, because a lot of people would have marked their positions using that lower low as either a take loss point or as a stop loss. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see some more sellings. We might push back further into this area here. Obviously, the test of that is how quickly we come back out again, and it's only really going to be in the next day or so whether we see if any leverage is unwound as a result of this push down. So any leverage longs obviously will get squeezed in this kind of move, and we won't really know if that's the case or not, probably for a day or two. So the thing I think that's worth keeping in mind is that we've been in this position before. So it was only on the 4th of December that we had this really significant move here, or early in December we had this really significant push down before. We've obviously had a big pullback down here in September, and then we had this particularly unpleasant period here in the middle of last year, after this big sell-off from here. So I think the thing to keep in mind is that we've been here before. This is a normal part of being in markets. They do have these periods of consolidation or retracement, and so it's really nothing out of the ordinary in that regard. So to summarise, we've now marked a lower low, so that's definitely a bearish signal. We've breached that 42,000 mark, so again that's another bearish signal, but we do have some initial support forming, so that's pretty positive. We have been in situations like this before, so it's not an abnormal move. It does feel like it's part of a broader cycle. So I think we will see some more selling. We will do a push probably deeper into this zone. Hopefully we don't push through that 39.6 mark is more damaging. I don't think we'll do that. I think we will push into this zone though before we see some sort of recovery. So just a quick video from me today. So I hope that was helpful. I think the takeaway is we'll probably see some more selling. We will see some more weakness. Hopefully that's the end of any really big significant moves. But I think the thing for traders, especially if you're sort of newer to markets and you haven't seen this sort of thing before, is to, just try and be calm and just try and be as relaxed as you can. Maybe step away from the screen a little bit. Doing anything when you're in a high pressure situation or where you're not really sure about what to do, and this is a confusing time, generally you're not going to make good decisions in that. So the best thing to do is to reevaluate your investment case, really think about why you're in that trade or you're in that investment, and if those reasons haven't changed, and so I think from my personal perspective, the medium and longer term outlook for Bitcoin and the whole ecosystem really hasn't changed, and so if those things haven't changed, then my approach to my investment shouldn't change. So that's the way I think about it. I've been in markets for quite a long time, both in the industry as an investor, and so that's how I look at it. So I hope that's helpful. Just try and keep calm and carry on, and I'll see you in the next video.